Okay, and our top five for this episode is top five movies with an assassination as the main plot point.
Yeah.
Correct?
So an assassination has to be the thing that drives the plot. Is the reason for the story, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so who's going to go first?
Go on. I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay. So mine. There's quite a few. Must be said. I had 18 altogether, but obviously we can only have 5.
Yeah, this was hard.
This was very hard. Particularly the 5, 6, 7. Right, they're all hard. Like any one of these could be my number 5, but I'm just going to go with it. I think my number 5 primarily is, I put it there just so I can talk about it, because I think it's a film worth talking about. I've tried to get on this podcast before and failed, and that film is Lust, Caution. It is one of the single greatest political thrillers ever made, I think. Now, there are 2 sex scenes in it that are pretty graphic. It's an Ang Lee film. Ang Lee doesn't hold back on the sex in it, but it's like that's 5 minutes of what is a 2.5-hour movie. And I know when the movie came out, much was made of those sex scenes. So much was made about them, to the point that that's all the film became. But like I say, it's 5 minutes. The other 2 hours and 20 minutes of movie, it's all real political thriller, like hard-edged, just brilliant espionage stuff, in which this woman has been planted inside a very high-up politician, and she's there to spy on him and get information. And he's a brutal man. And it raises moral questions about what we call on people to do within the espionage world, what is asked of them. You identify with this woman, a really strong central female character who's doing things that in most movies are reserved for male roles. There's some brutal moments of violence when it hits, but in a very realistic kind of Spielbergian way. I think films like Schindler's List, that kind of thing, it fits in line with that kind of filmmaking, I think. So yeah, it is a film that has largely been forgotten, I feel, and is due a resurgence, due a reappraisal, a reevaluation, because I think it's, like I say, one of the best political thrillers / assassination movies ever made. So like the whole point is they're trying to set this guy up to be assassinated, just in case you were wondering where the assassination comes in. And she's in there, she's doing the spying, and eventually when they realise that they need to kill this guy, they need to set him up as to be assassinated, she's the one who is essentially entrusted to do that, to try and put him in the line of fire, so to speak. Yeah. Whether she succeeds or not, I will leave for you to find out if you just go and watch the film.
That sounds like a great movie. I may actually watch that pretty soon. Sitting down to do this list was such a hardship. I'd say I had so many movies listed, and I was like, oh, does it fit? Does it not? Do I want to lose that one? Then there was movies that I hadn't seen in a long while, and I was like, does that hold up? There's movies that I've never seen that would probably make it onto the list, and I finally managed to narrow it down. I've made some shortcuts along the way and cheated a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
And I've put for my number 5 movie, and this was one that I kept putting on and taking off and putting back on and taking off, because it's not a great movie. It's not, but it's one of those movies that I've watched way too many times. If I stumble across it on TV, I watch it. And that movie is Shooter. Now,
I like it. I do like Shooter, but yeah.
I haven't found anyone that doesn't. It's one of those movies where nobody goes, yeah, that's great, but I've seen that far too many times. And it's one of those ones that it's just comfortable to watch. It's not realistic, it's silly, it's Hollywoodized, but my goodness, is it fun. And it's all about an ex-sniper who's called in to see if there's going to be an assassination attempt on the president. What he doesn't realise is he's being set up to look as if he's going to be the person doing the assassination. And he goes on the run and he's chased by all these dodgy people, blah blah blah, action, explosions, usual stuff, Mark Wahlberg. But my goodness, so much fun.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a generic movie, but it's an easy watch. I have seen it a few times myself. So my number 4 is a film that I have talked about previously on the podcast in my top 5. I think I've had it maybe in a couple of top 5s. For my money, it's Steven Spielberg's best film, and that is Munich, which is once again a true story about the 11 Israeli athletes who were killed at the Olympics in Munich. And yeah, it's about the Israeli squad of ex-Mossad agents who were kind of put together to hunt down the Black September group, basically the people responsible for the Black September terrorist group. So yeah, that is their life, really. Is their life becomes a never-ending series of planning various assassinations and carrying them out. So while the film doesn't necessarily revolve around one specific assassination, it's kick-started because of one and then leads to, like I say, a constant string of others. But it's a gripping story that kind of really tells you, well, about the cycle, the never-ending cycle of violence, the tit for tat that is never going to end, seemingly never going to end. They take one of ours, so we take one of theirs kind of mentality that's been going on for a very long time and will continue to go on for a long time henceforth. So yeah, it's a film that doesn't give you any easy answers. It just says, look, this is the way it is. It's not good, but until somebody makes the hard decision, it's not going to change. So yeah, really great. Again, politically kind of minded thriller, all about assassination. So yeah.
My number 4 is In the Line of Fire, which is Wolfgang Petersen directed, 1993 movie starring Clint Eastwood, Rene Russo, John Malkovich. Fantastic. This is one of the first ones that I thought of immediately when I thought of this list. Put it on there. I remember when this came out and going to see it at the cinema all those years ago. I thought it was fantastic then. You really get again, it's a little bit Hollywoodized, but I think John Malkovich really sells it as this crazed gunman looking to take out the president. I think that's one of the most marvellous things about the movie. And the cool little gun that he has at the end as well. He makes it out of kind of plastic, I think it is. It's awesome. Clint Eastwood really was a fantastic, it really is a fantastic star when he's engaged in these kind of movies. And this was one of his sort of last major kind of Hollywood-ish movies as a star, and he just knocked it out of the park. So yeah, In the Line of Fire, number 4. One thing I do remember about this movie, sitting in the cinema, is that it was heavily advertised, and it had that cool little thing of the ticking clock, and it would show you like John F. Kennedy's assassination in '63, and the clock would tick and it would turn the 6 to a 9 because it was 1993.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know why that stuck with me, but it just shows you how when you've got a good advertising thing, it just kind of lands.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. Okay, so my number 3. These top 3 now, really hard for me to put them in order, but number 3, I went with The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. If it didn't have that title and you didn't know anything about the Jesse James story, you wouldn't know that this was an assassination movie until the end. But that title is very specific. It's called The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. So we get 2 big spoilers in the title. We know that Jesse James is going to get assassinated, and we know who's going to do it. And I think there's a very specific reason for that, and that is that from the moment this film gets going, you are now going to be in a position of constantly questioning, when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? What are going to be the events that lead to it happening? Because on the surface of it, these 2 guys are friends. You know, this guy played by Casey Affleck, he's part of Jesse James' group. So, you know, how does that happen? How do they have such a breakdown that he's going to be the person that does it, that pulls the trigger? And that's what's intriguing about the movie, really intriguing. I think, like I say, having that title does set you up in the right mindset to how they want you to come to this movie. And that's it, really. It's a really blinding movie. It's brilliant. It's got some of the best cinematography I've ever seen by Roger Deakins. He should have won an Oscar for it, quite frankly. I don't think he was even nominated, because he was too busy getting nominated for No Country for Old Men that year. And quite frankly, I would have gone with this film for Best Picture over No Country for Old Men as well. It was a very, very strong year, it must be said. There Will Be Blood was out as well. Of the 3, I think that would probably be my number 1 choice. So, yeah, when you've got a film this good that doesn't get nominated, because the films that were nominated were actually pretty damn strong as well, it was a good year. And a particularly good year for Westerns, must be said. But yeah, Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Absolutely brilliantly made film, pitched perfectly, brilliantly directed, great performances by both Brad Pitt and Casey Affleck, and just a really good character study of this man and the so-called cowardice that, you know, he presented in killing his supposed best friend. Was it indeed cowardice, or was that the way he was painted? Yeah, great movie.
It should be said, I've not seen Munich or The Assassination.
Oh, wow.
Which I need to get to at some point. The shame. And we'll dive from your Oscar-nominated movie into my Roger Corman-produced movie. At number 3 is Targets, which, if you haven't seen before, is something a little bit exceptional. This is the best movie that Roger Corman's ever been
associated with.
Yes. Directed by debut director Peter Bogdanovich, who was put under kind of silly constraints. He managed to get this movie together that is pretty fantastic. Now, the basic premise is about a washed up actor who is attending a drive-in to promote something, and there is this Vietnam vet who has snapped and is sniping people from a distance away. It is brilliant. It's you say Roger Corman and you get an instant idea of what this movie is going to be, but then you throw in the director of Peter Bogdanovich, who really does elevate this. The aging actor is played by Boris Karloff, and you know, you can tell by the way Brian's laughing at it instantly. It's just one of these movies you go, nope. It's number 3 on my list. It's not number 5. This is a damn good assassination movie that has more themes to it than you imagine something that's genre specific has. It tackles some really difficult subjects in amongst the way that it does the movie, and it still lives up to its genre roots at the same time. It's a marvellous movie that if you haven't seen, you really need to check out.
I've not seen it, but yeah, just the fact that it's a Roger Corman picture is tough. Like, I'm looking at my honourable mentions that didn't even make my top 5, and you're throwing Roger Corman picks on there and Mark Wahlberg generic kind of action flicks. Yeah, classic Graham. That's all I can say. Classic Graham.
Wait till I get to my cheating number 2 and 1.
Oh dear. Okay, number 2 for me is In Bruges. So from the writer-director of 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. For me, this is still his best film. I can completely understand anyone going with 3 Billboards and saying that's his best. I totally get why they would say that. The way I see it, they're both 5-star films. Just this, for me, I just love it. It's a tale about 2 hitmen. One of them on his first job makes a bad hit, makes a mistake on his hit, accidentally kills a child by accident, and they have to go to Bruges to wait it out until Big Boss Man decides what's to be done about it. But turns out the real reason for going to Bruges is that one of these hitmen has been assigned the task of taking out the other hitman, to assassinate him after he's had a good old jolly time. Because Big Boss Man ain't without a heart. Let him have a good time and then kill him. So yeah, it's so that's the plot really. It's like, will he, won't he, what does it all mean? Is there redemption for this character? Can anyone who's killed a child, whether it's accident or not, can he have redemption? Can he find redemption? And that's really what the film is about. And it's one of the best turns from Colin Farrell. He gives an absolutely blinding performance. Brendan Gleeson, as I've said before on this show, one of my favourite actors working today. I'll watch him in anything, quite frankly. I watched Hampstead just because he was in it. So yeah, great film.
Okay, so I'm still undecided, Brian, about what I'm putting at number 2 here, or at number 1. This is hard. This is really hard.
Kill Bill Volume 1 or Kill Bill Volume 2?
Nope. I'm going to... So, like I said, I'm cheating a little bit here. And I'm putting a movie and its sequel in at number 2. Okay? And the movie is... And it is an assassination attempt, because the T-800 is sent back to assassinate John Connor. So I'm putting Terminator 2 at my number 2.
You're putting Terminator and Terminator 2 at number 2.
I can't distinguish between the two of them. They're both great assassination movies.
You have to.
I'm not doing it, Brian.
Well, that's your 2 and your 1 right there. You don't get to have another one. That's 6 films. Well, in that case, my number 6 is Zero Dark 30. So
right, let's get back to my Terminator. Fine, if you're going to make me choose, Terminator 2. Okay. Well, I hummed and hawed because it is a science fiction movie. It's a heavy action movie, and there's nothing that says that can't be an assassination movie as well. That is the core arc of the story. John Connor is to be assassinated by the T-1000. Robert Patrick's fantastic performance. We did a podcast on this, Brian.
Our very first one, I believe. No, second. Star Trek was our first, wasn't it? Yeah.
And we gushed over this movie, how just goddamn perfect it is. You've got Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is the big bad guy who, normally most people would put someone bigger, badder against him, but they go for a sleek, slimline, more dangerous kind of robot against him, which is just awesome. The T-1000, and like we said, the special effects still hold up. The action set pieces are tremendous. We get the evolution of the Sarah Connor's character, and Terminator 2. What else can you really say about this movie that hasn't been said?
Yeah.
Terminator's really good as well.
Yeah. I can't argue with it. It is an assassination movie. It's unconventional, must be said. I don't think assassination movie when I think Terminator 2. But yeah, you're right. It fits the bill. That is the main drive. If I was hung up on it being an assassination movie and not just a sci-fi action film, then I would be kicking myself right now and thinking, how can I not put it on number one? But I'm not going to beat myself up about it too much. I think it is predominantly a sci-fi action film, but I can see why you went with it. So my number one, hurrah, is my chance to redeem myself for a mistake made in the past, not so long ago.
Is it the main plot point of it?
Grosse Pointe Blank. Grosse Pointe Blank is my number one. So the plot is basically that this guy, he goes to his high school reunion, but he goes there because he's on a job. He's a hitman. He goes to assassinate whoever it is this person has told him to assassinate. It's only when he gets to the place he's going, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen this. Shall I leave it? Shall I not spoil it? I'll leave it. But suffice to say, it's an assassination movie. It's about a hitman who goes to his old town to take someone out, basically. So, really great film. I completely negated to put it in my top 5 list for, I can't remember which episode it was we did that for.
Movie set in high school.
A high school movie, yeah, so that was for the Heathers podcast. Completely forgot about it. I redeemed myself here. I think I did put it in eventually and I bumped everything down, but yeah. I redeemed myself here by putting it at number one. Just one of my favourite movies of all time. It covers so many different brackets. It's my favourite comedy probably of all time. It's one of the best high school movies of all time. It's one of the best hitmen movies of all time. And right now it's one of the best assassination movies of all time. So yeah, Grosse Pointe Blank, if you haven't seen it, one of the best films of the 90s, one of the best films made, period. Check it out.
Okay, my number one is Kill Bill 1 and 2. It's the one story.
It is. Like, let's face it, when it was first coming out, they released a poster that was just Kill Bill, the 5th film from Quentin Tarantino, and then eventually we got another poster that was Kill Bill Volume 1. No, 4th film, is it? 4th film from Tarantino? Either way. Yeah, either way.
Yeah, and again, Tarantino is one of my favourite directors, and this is another one of those movies that just melds so many things together. Very rarely do you get a filmmaker who can riff on very familiar tropes and genres and elevate them at the exact same time and make it immensely watchable. Fill it with characters who you understand fully, who all have individual voices, who are compelling to stick with. And this just had everything. Animated sequences and homages to the old kind of Shaw Brothers movies of the 70s with the Pie May scene and things like that. It brought David Carradine back in another role, which is a Tarantino trademark. But the whole story is all about the bride who is looking for revenge. She's off to assassinate Bill. Tremendous movie. And I think I was thinking about it, you could probably have filled up your top 5 with Tarantino movies, couldn't you? Yeah. So, but we've not got to that top 5 yet. That'll be an interesting episode.
Yeah, I mean, like, while we're on it, I will give a couple of more than a couple. I'll give a few honourable mentions, just because this was a crazy one. Like, so many of these films are in my top 100 movies of all time. So Zero Dark 30, just who'd have thought a film about the assassination of Osama bin Laden would have been so engaging, but yeah, got really caught up in it. Hero, the film by Sang Yimou, a film that kind of tells a few different perspectives on a story, using colour kind of thing. Leon, one of the best assassination movies of all time, Leon. So that's one in which the young girl kind of essentially gets Leon to take out the guy who killed her parents, or asks him to train her so that she can do it. Sicario, just absolutely blinding film. My second favourite Denis Villeneuve film. Kill Bill, as you said, and two more. There's so many. Inglourious Bastards, really great film about the assassination of Hitler. That didn't happen, but for the sake of this movie, it did, which is really bizarre. Collateral with Tom Cruise, really great movie about a hitman out on the town for the night, doing a few hits. And one final one I will mention, which I feel is really unsung, doesn't get the praise it deserves, kind of underrated, and that's Valkyrie, another film about the attempted assassination of Hitler in this case. So this is the real story as opposed to the fake one by Tarantino. And yeah, given that you know the outcome in that film, in Valkyrie, it's still really tense. You still get really caught up in it. So yeah, I like that film quite a lot.
I think, other than the ones you've mentioned, which had a few honourable mentions there, the only one that I wanted to put on my list, but I was just a little bit unsure about, because it's not the main plot point, and that was Taxi Driver.
Okay.
It was on and off my list. Ultimately, it's not the main driving force.
It's a reactionary thing, isn't it? So it's a decision that he makes at the end as a reaction to other stuff that's going on. Whereas, it's not it's not the main driving force for his character throughout. But yeah, some great choices there.
Yeah, including Shooter.